we are in online. I think online
We are
and
live.
live. Yes.
Yes.
Super intrigued with the topic, and I was reading and rereading kind of our, I would say, not a bullet points, but Alice, you crafted it, right?
Yes.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I was thinking that's again some kind of very global, how we as a humans kind of how we kill somebody's dreams and
Yeah.
how we kill our ability to connect, for example, or how we generally kill kind of
Mhm.
things. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm very happy to jump in and discuss. Who wants to start?
I think Irene, since this was her subject.
True. Yeah, let's.
I was trapped in the same cage I create. How can we kill dream of other people? I think that the best expression on our serial killer from within is how do we kill our own dreams, how we do not believe in ourselves, we consider ourselves always not enough and not not worth it. We don't consider ourselves, and we are educated to think like that, and we are not educated in really believe ourselves. We are trained since our childhood to be judged from our family members, from schools. I am a fan that would eliminate any evaluation in schools, because these evaluations are based on standards, not on considering the true capacities, strengths, gifts, and talents of the individuals in connect we are connected with, because the children are the future individuals. And if we kill their own dreams by evaluating and judge them, we can be sure that these people will never be satisfied or happy. Just to reconnect to our previous topic, happiness, and how we kill the dream of others is by repeating automatically the same behaviors and mindset that we somehow uh, received in our childhood. My question is, so are always we aware of what we do when we speak with others, when we speak with ourselves, and what we created in our life in order to allow these habits, to the serial killer's habits, to continuously uh, jeopardize our own lives?
Interesting. Well, first thing, thank you, Irene. First thing which comes to my mind, again, I'm thinking: is serial killer, for example, within me, has a good intention? I hope so. I mean, like when you several times Irene used word evaluation or evaluate others, and I understand that as soon as we turn the word evaluation into another word like judge, yeah, of course that's already like, okay, seems like a negative thing. But to be honest, yeah, judgment, well, in the mild version of judgment, it's to evaluate. And evaluation, like if I dig deeper in my kind of set of beliefs, and dig like up to the scientist level, well, we need to evaluate things constantly. It's a good thing. In my mind, evaluation or ability to measure or to see what is, where things going and where they're crossing line, where it's still okay, where, I mean, the whole measurement or evaluation, it has no negative connotation whatsoever. And that's why I'm curious where our killer crossing the line, because to be able to measure and evaluate, I think it's a great quality. I mean, I was cherishing that quality kind of all my life as a scientist, and but I understand. So as soon as we start using some kind of specific markers, so black and white kind of, or harsh, or yeah, that's my question, which I would like to raise kind of to everyone. Is there a line, and where that line is crossed, so our friendly evaluator with a good intention becomes serial killer? Any ideas?
John?
Did I put you
I
guys in
feel like
trance?
I'm taking a test. Oh my gosh.
I'm
That was
sorry.
pretty
Yeah.
deep, Alex. Yeah. You notice I was kind of looking up while you were speaking. I was
Trying to find the answer on the blackboard. Yeah,
trying to
no answers.
I was trying to take it all in. I think that, wow, it's very interesting because I guess what I was struggling with as I was thinking is, for me, the serial killer within doesn't have good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And further, that I think in general we are so programmed, to Irene's point, and conditioned that it is such an automatic behavior, that part of us, because I so appreciated what Irene was talking about, because I originally thought this starts with me, and then it gets pushed outside of myself to others. But frankly, I think I don't know. Can the serial killer have good intentions? I, I, I struggle with that, because I go to more of a black and white
So
version of.
you believe that serial killer was born a killer? No? Yes?
Yeah, I guess it's just because of the wording, and just because of the connotation of what it means when we think about, kind of real people who do this. But yeah, so I'm struggling because I think this is so ingrained in so many people, and I think that the test is how to evaluate, how to create awareness, and recognize when it begins to move from ourselves to others, and what do we need to do first with ourselves once we create that awareness. So I'll leave it at that. I'm still contemplating your question, so I'm going to ask Alice to share her thoughts.
Well, I think, and this is just my thoughts, that the serial killer within us, I think it has good intentions, but those intentions are of from their viewpoint. So if my intention, if I say, John, you should become a doctor and you want to become an artist, I'm looking at it like, okay, there's more of a stable field to be a doctor. You will always have a job, but your heart is saying you want to be an artist. So my intention is good, but I'm killing your dream. Then I go to Alex and I say, Alex, you should be a artist. And he want to be a doctor. But you're so good at this. You're so good at this. My intention is good, but that's my perspective. But I'm killing his dream. I go to Irene and I say, Irene, you should be a musician. And she said, no, I want to be an artist. My intention is good. So I think that intention in the serial killer within us mostly is good. Just like when our parents, when I was young, I really wanted to write. I wanted to write. I wanted to be an artist, but that wasn't the norm in the community I grew up in. Everybody was telling me, you should be a teacher. You should go to college. You should take something that will give you a life. Their intention was good, but they were killing me, you know, my spirit, who I was. So I think that's what happens a lot. Our this serial killer within us, we don't even recognize it because we actually believe that we're doing something good, you know, but we're only looking through our own eyes. We're not looking through the eyes of the person we're offering that to. So that's kind of my perspective on that.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I agree with many points here, and I believe there are lots of things kind of overlapping, which makes the scenario and case much worse. Like for example, one of the kind of strategies which society kind of developed, and I believe we are conditioned a lot, is that, and I understand kind of maybe the source of it. So I would put it this way: the chain is just as strong as the weakest link, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's not a maybe best kind of analogy, but if we use that analogy to the personal character, for example, then you need to focus on weaknesses and strengthen them, right? I mean, so when someone in the classroom and you have like 15 subjects and one person is having, problems here and there and there and there, well, as a teacher who conditioned with this kind of, I would say, strategy of paying attention to weak points and actually, bring maybe all power, all of my teaching power towards the weakest and
Mm-hmm.
the most kind of undeveloped areas of somebody's development, then I will be pointing and noticing just things which I am not happy about. Why? Because I believe that the whole chain as strong as the weakest link, and I really will be working on the weakest links. So whatever people have a talents or good at some subjects, I don't care. I will be pointing their noses and hitting them kind of in the most, uh, I would say, vulnerable places where they are really weak. Why? Because I want to make them stronger. I'm acting in accordance to my conditioning and my belief system, and that's become a killer automatically, because if in the classroom, from all other good things, I'm noticing and pointing just the bad stuff for somebody, that somebody will be after 1, 2, 3 years completely discouraged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, does it make
I
sense, right? I mean, this is become a
yes.
killer. Intention is really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think sometimes we as when I look back on when I was raising my children when they were coming up, and I was when I was writing up their points, I was thinking, wow, how many times did I play serial killers, a serial killer in my children's life. You
Yeah.
know, instead of encouraging them to just be who they are, to go this way or go that way, I was trying to get them to focus on what, through my eyes, was the best thing for them.
Yeah. Very important.
Luckily,
Yeah.
they were very rebellious to being directed in a way that they didn't want to, and they made their own choices. But I think as parents, we are really some of the worst serial killers there is.
True. Very true. Unless children are smart enough kind of to develop strategy. I remember my strategy was uh, because my parents were kind of demanding certain particular things. So I was thinking for myself, okay, I'm gonna deliver that, and then I'm free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so I
I
was
think mine's too. My kids were like that. Okay, I'll do that, but then I'm gonna be free.
exactly. So yeah, so we are trying kind of to combine and to please the killers around, and yeah, true. But I'm sure there are much worse kind of scenarios. But I think the whole killer thing, I agree with Alice. We really don't even realize how much that stuff actually developed, and not just towards others, but towards, as Irene mentioned, towards ourselves.
Mhm.
That's become even, those voices people have in their heads, actually voices of mothers and fathers, or who knows what. I mean, it's already kind of maybe some kind of collective ones who are judging and telling you that you are not good enough. And if you dig deeper behind the intention of that voice, well, voice wants you to be good enough, obviously, but the method is terrible. Strategy chosen is really discouraging.
I have a lot of memories of my childhood since I listened to Alex, because I had another kind of problem. Because I was successful anything I did, I had a period of time during the year that all the teachers were focused on this period that was from February to half of April. My energy was really down, and I didn't have the usual performance because I always was one of the top students at schools. Since I go to my high school, that there was this incredible teenage revolution within me. So I understood quite clearly that I am uh, a rebel for default. So whatever I don't like, I fight. And or just I refuse it. I don't have strategy. I just say, okay, this is your point of view. I have mine. If you want to stay with me, accept me. Otherwise, I don't want to say an expletive, but I hope you understand. That's my strategy now. And they were focused on this period of time. I was really lack in energy. And my mother understood this, and she started to share with the teachers anytime that this was my weak period, and just let me stay and relax in this period. And I have my speed, the high level of energy since the half of April to the end of school. And so my results were always the same. But I can tell you, even having great result doesn't make you very happy. I was like that. I always had, and I go back to this result at university, the top of the result, the maximum, I always get it. And despite that, I never was satisfied. And not because I wanted more, but because this was not the motivation or the meaning of my life. having highest result doesn't make you happy. So the question is, how can we use the serial killer to teach us how to be happy? Because also, if we understand what doesn't make us happy, and why we are not fulfilled despite the highest result in that, the wonderful success in other things, and what really is his teaching? What is the teaching of the serial killer? I started to not tame my serial killer, but befriend my serial killer, to understand that I love really not only be free, but see people free, and be on behalf of their freedom. That was my personal teaching of my serial killer.
So did you transform it?
I don't know if it's a true transformation, but it's kind that I have, okay, so tell me what you want really. And I understood that this freedom is the top of my value, as well as I learned to have the openness and the capacity to help others to be in touch with their own freedom, and realize, especially as coaches, we don't need to tame our habits or serial killers, but befriend them and understand and learn from them. As you said, Alex, they have not the bad intention, but diving deeper into their meaning, or the why that they are, or what were the bad results that we get since we listened to them, and what was their own why. There is an exercise, I think, from a great coach and trainer Marita Friedholm, and that she teaches systemic team coaching, that say, what is the unsaid? She's asked this question about other things. What was the underneath? What is the unsaid that wants to come on the surface, and we cannot be able sometimes just to name or to define. And there is a meaning every time for what we experience. So for myself, my serial killer is freedom for myself and others. Maybe this is the transformation.
Alice, what about you? How you managed eventually to tame it or change it, in relation, for example, to your children, kind of strategy towards what you think important and versus what they think is important?
I think not so much as with my children, because my children have a really strong mindset, and they probably were thinking like you, okay, I'll do this, but I'm going to be free, and then I'll do what I want. But when Irene was talking, and she was talking about how you befriend the serial killer within you, it reminded me of my internal personal serial killer, which from the time I was about 6 was fear. And it was fear of public speaking, fear of because I had this really horrible incident. I had a really bad speech impediment. So at this one school program, I got up to say my part, and when I said my part, everyone burst into laughter, and I just kind of withdrew. And for years, I did never put myself back out there where I would speak in public or put myself in front of an audience until it got so bad that I knew I couldn't, I didn't want to live that way. So, like she said, I didn't try to kill that little 6-year-old girl that was there and that withdrew. She had, every time I tried to get up, she would get up with me. So I
Yeah.
didn't try to kill her or destroy her. I made friends with her. And even to this day, when I get up, if I'm speaking in public, if I know an audience is watching me, she stand behind me. She used to stand in front of me, but I just had to make friends with her. And okay, you're going to be here. So somehow we have to live together. And that's what I did. I made friends with her. And I realized I acknowledged her. I didn't, before I was trying to just push it out and kill it, or push it away. But that wasn't going to happen because the event that created her, I can't take that event away. So it will always be there. So I made peace with it. And that's how I try to do now that my kids are grown up. Anytime I find myself attacking, telling them you should go this way or that way, say, okay, let's just make peace with it and let them go the way they want. So I think that's the biggest point for me, to make peace with that, whatever that serial killer within you is, to make peace with it. And you just live with it. It's not a bad thing. It keeps me on my toes. It makes me more aware of certain things. So that's that's my point of it.
Nice. So now I am addressing to the silent man, the wise one, who is silent all our session. I'm sure that one is full of wise thoughts
Mm.
now.
Where the wisdom has come from is this conversation. And what I was going to say is that I actually have created a shift. I mean, this was almost like my own personal coaching session, just witnessing this, because what I was doing was to think about, where did I begin this conversation and where I am now. And there has been a shift, even in the way that I began speaking about the serial killer to where I am now and looking at it. Also recognizing like current events for me. I mean, you're talking, Alice is talking about the kids and what happened, and that's exactly where I've gone. And understanding that I actually have work to do. I have an interesting journey to take around what happened with me and that serial killer inside, and good intentions from others around school. I mean, right now it's focused on school for me.
Yeah.
So I where I want to go with this is that this is a moment where somebody listening to this, the possibilities of creating a shift in the way that we look at things differently. And I started off seeing this as very negative, and now looking at that serial killer as having good intentions, and where some of these beliefs and conditionings come from. But more importantly, as we create that awareness, what everyone has been sharing is to befriend this part of us, and I loved what Alice said, that once she was able to recognize it, this beautiful moment of having that little girl stand behind her, not in front of her directing this and making the calls, out of insecurity or whatever those things were, but acknowledging that she's still there, but she's standing behind you. And in some way saying, I got this, I'm okay, I know you're here. You may never go away fully, but it's that that shift, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so amazing about this. So, like I said, in some ways, this for me has been my own uh, coaching session.
No, for me as well. True.
Yeah.
I was totally supporting kind of your evolution because I had similar. No, I had intention kind of. I mean, I would say suspected that supposed to be some kind of positive intention because, again, probably it's kind of education thing because we are dealing with the parts of us all the time, kind of in neurolinguistic programming, and every single time when we start digging to the true intentions, actually those parts, no matter how negative or judgmental they are, they always eventually have some kind of positive intention behind, whatever it is, protection or or whatever. But yeah, I mean, but the strategy and I would say the means those parts are taking over and choosing sometimes very nasty and not appropriate. But in terms of intentions, very often positive one. And just the fact to recognize it, and the fact is that it's possible to negotiate and live together and change, shift, acknowledge that, okay, I know that, you are trying to protect maybe kind of me, or, be safe or not be hurt, kind of, or whatever. But as you said, John, I'll take it. It's okay. I will handle it. Just stay kind of close, and yeah, we will work it out.
Mhm.
And some kind of negotiation almost. And in many cases, it's already really powerful enough to make a shift. Yeah, so that's my takeaway also. I think it's not, again, to move from black and white, from something which we need to fight against, because serial killer sounds like someone who we need to lock as far as possible and throw the key out. But that's kind of how, to be honest, paranoid kind of disorders are really created, because it's actually part of us, and integration
Well,
would be
Alex,
ideal.
Alex, you are an Aikido master, and Aikido use the energy of the opponent on his behalf or in his advantage from this concept of Aikido martial art.
Yeah.
To don't fight against, but turn the energy on my advantage.
Precisely. But in order not to fight, first of all, we need to change the label, or ideally just remove the label, because so serial killer is not very helpful label for us to deal with that personality. So how we are gonna rename it or dislabel it? Because that's how energy will become energy. Otherwise, it will be a killer anyway.
Maybe
Any
we
ideas,
want to.
guys?
Maybe we want to rebirth this serial killer. Yeah, we want to rebirth it into a serial healer. Yeah,
Killer.
yeah.
Okay, that's dramatic change. What about if on the first stage we just call him Serial without killer at least? So I think it's already kind of getting cuter.
Yeah.
Just Serial. Who knows? It's almost like I don't know. There is a cereal. It's not. They know that there is a food like grains, those kind of.
Mm-hmm.
How like also cereal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
With a
No,
C.
yeah, with a C, of course, it's not S, but it sounds like almost like that cereal. Okay, with that cereal, I can actually talk.
Yeah. 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 I, for
What?
me, when Irene said that about making peace with it, it just brought back a flood of memories, and it's something that I've written on about my friend that's always with me, and I
Mm,
stand up, and I really had to do a deep dive to figure out how I was going to live with this little girl because she stood in front of me and I had so many things I wanted to do. I wanted to say that was within me, and the only way I could do them was I would write, and I wanted to speak. It was like she took my voice away,
wow.
and if I didn't, I mean, it was that strong. And if I didn't make peace with her, I knew I couldn't get rid of her.
Yeah.
She had been with me all my life. But if I didn't make peace with her, I would never have peace within me. So I just said, what is it? How can I deal with this little girl? Because I mean, I literally could in my head, I would see her, I would see that little girl, that little 6-year-old girl that was devastated on that stage. And how she didn't cry, she didn't say anything. She just simply stepped back into her place. And I didn't know at that time, but subconsciously, I know she made a decision that I will never put myself out there again.
For
And
embarrassment.
as
Yeah.
I grew older, that's what she always made sure I was protected, where I was never put out there again. But
Yeah.
I had no peace with that. I wasn't happy. So somehow we had to have that conversation where, okay, I understand why you're here. I understand how we got to this point, but we have to make some changes. And once I did, it wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't easy at all. It's the hardest thing I ever did in my life. But once I did it, once I did it, it's the best thing. And now we coexist. When I stand up, I expect her to stand up. But I know she's standing not too far in the back, but she's back there. And she's reminding me, now I look at her more like she's encouraging me, saying, go out in front, you can do it. Where before she was there saying, I'm protecting you, I'm between you and them. So it's, yeah, that was my serial killer.
Wow.
And now she's my serial healer.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's a huge transformation. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, oh yeah, I hope people who saw our and listened to our conversation, I mean, they picked up something for themselves. I mean, I definitely did. So I would like to thank you for all your contribution. And is anyone wants to wrap it up? If you want to, guys. Well, there are
John?
no.
I think it wrapped itself like a
Yeah,
bow.
exactly. That's what I also
Totally.
felt. I felt like it's kind
Yes.
of it gets to some level of, at least I'm not saying it's the only uh, I would say the maybe level of wisdom or whatever we could come up with, but at least I sense that there is a definitely different different angle we found and explored a little bit. And I'm sure there are maybe other levels. So as soon as we feel like talking about that as well, maybe we will get back to that topic. But as for now, guys, yeah, I would like to thank you all. And yeah, we will continue with other. I think we were planning to do something close to the like a wrapping up the whole 2020 thing, right? So maybe one of those topics will be next week. We will discuss it. Thank you, everyone. John, Irene,
Thank you.
Alice.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye,
bye.
everyone.